All right, guys. So we're going to kick off right away because we have a very short panel session. It's just for 30 minutes. So the first question, which will go to everyone, is to briefly tell us what you do and how it's how it connects to diversity and inclusion. So briefly tell us what you do as simply as possible and how it connects to diversity and inclusion in society. So I'd like to start with Mr. Obong. Mr. Obong, let's start with you.
Thank you very much, Kelechi. What was the question again? I couldn't hear you very clearly.
Yeah, just briefly tell us what you do and how it connects to diversity and inclusion.
Oh, thank you very much. Hi viewers. My name is Obong from Africa Prudential. Africa Prudential is a listed company on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We're into registered services and also digital technology. And I think that as we go into the session in terms of diversity and inclusion, a lot of what we do in the technology ecosystem, has a lot to play in that. Some of which is within the cooperative business and the larger capital market. And as we go further, you would hear me speak about those things in terms of how we connect to inclusion and the impact within the society.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, sir. Talking about the registration part of what you do and how it's joined with technology as well. I actually checked you guys. I checked out Africa Prudential yesterday, studied what you guys do and your technology solutions. Fantastic. All right, Mr. Uwem, let's hear from you. What you do and how it connects to inclusion and diversity.
Thank you very much. My name is Uwem, once again, and I'm a startup coach and investor with Ingressive Capital. Through Ingressive, we have a range of investments across sub-Saharan Africa, but through our sister company, Ingressive for Good, we've been very big on inclusivity and building out a pipeline for the tech industry. And in the last 1 year, they've trained over 80,000 people, trained specifically 2,000 women in design programs in collaboration with Coursera and DataCamp, and basically try to build out an ecosystem for the startups that are springing up here and there. I guess I'll stop here now. Thank you.
Okay. So startups, investing in them, also on different gender sides, both male and female, and building that ecosystem to include everybody, all the fast rising startups that are popping up in Nigeria. Fantastic. All right, Mr. Ola, let's hear from you. So tell us what you do and how it connects to inclusion and diversity. Yes, go ahead.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I work primarily. I wear two hats, right? I work primarily as the general manager at the Enterprise Development Center. I'm responsible for programs and partnerships. And essentially what we do is provide support services to startups, entrepreneurs, and SMEs in Nigeria. And of course, my second hat is as the MD of the Global Entrepreneurship Network for Nigeria. And what we do essentially is to galvanize the ecosystem and bring the players and actors together to build one solid ecosystem that can start to churn out the next level of entrepreneurs and startups in Nigeria. And one of the things we've done in order for us to make capacity building for small businesses and startups more available is to build a learning management system that allows for people anywhere in any part of Nigeria to learn at no cost to them.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you for that, sir. Mr. Chinedu, we'd like to hear from you as well.
So I like to describe what I do in the context of the effect rather than, like the overall description. So I gather resources to help founders achieve their business dreams. What does that look like in practice? That means I've run an organization. I'm the co-founder and partner of Passbook. Passbook has a venture capital firm where we invest, and we're in the US. So what we do is we invest in Black and brown founders that are immigrants, mostly African founders that are immigrants, to help them grow locally and scale globally to the markets in Africa and in Southeast Asia. And then we also have a startup studio that supports, and either we launch our own companies and then we recruit different people to run it, or we find companies that already exist, and then we help them scale to another thing. So one of those companies that we've that's in the startup studio that I've actually dug in with is African Digital Art. And that is a company that is basically, we're building the largest, we're building OpenSea for Africa. That's a little way to describe it. And so in the context of diversity inclusion, in the context of America, making sure you invest in people of color, especially Africans when they come here, making sure that they have a sense of belongingness, that there's resources, capital for you when you do arrive, if you do arrive. That's one thing. And then the second thing is from the startup studio perspective, if you have a business and it has a market that it can scale, and you are looking for sort of trusted hands that can help you scale, raise capital, find the recruit teams, and then also do whatever you need to do. That's what Passbook Studio is doing, and that's how we sort of make sure that we, in the studio context, we're just looking for founders that have built something cool. So we're very blind to whether someone is, in the north of Nigeria, or a woman, or what have you. In fact, we think that when they are in those spaces, when they are a woman or they have these like structural challenges that they face from diversity inclusion, and we find them, that means that they're probably a stronger entrepreneur, and they've kind of faced more consequences and challenges that we want to help them scale.
Fantastic. Nice one, Mr. Chinedu. So like you run like the investment arm, which invests in potential businesses of people, especially people of color and black and brown, and also build businesses that employ people to empower them, right? That's fantastic. So I'm in the midst of amazing men doing great things. All right, fantastic. And I like your t-shirt, by the way. Pay me in equity. Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right. So this goes to Mr. Obong. Mr. Obong, as a CEO of a very large and potential financial firm in Nigeria, what is your philosophy on technology and its impact on society? There's a lot of tech springing up everywhere. What is your philosophy behind it and how it impacts society positively? What's your philosophy? Yeah.
Oh, thank you again, Kelechi. For us, our technology, our philosophy on technology can be gleaned from our purpose statement, which is transforming Africa through innovative business solutions. We look at technology from a very, very broad point of view, and that is from a point of view of digital transformation. And to us, what does digital transformation mean? It means change, and technology is an enabler, of that change. And if you look at and still on that philosophy, the digital economy for Africa right now, again, transforming Africa is what we do. Building technology solutions is also what we do. And if you look at the broader digital economy, is huge. And if you look and you think about the access, in Africa, so we're looking at pushing, solving Africa's problems with homegrown solutions. We're talking of, and being part of that, allowing us be part of that digital economy. If you recall in the past, with the past revolutions of electrical revolution, mechanizations and everything, Africa wasn't a part of that. But now things have, and we have an opportunity with technology because it's very, very scalable, and you can build something and it's global tomorrow. And creating that access, we're talking about access to financial services, we're talking about access to education, we're talking about access to even markets.
Yeah.
We think the opportunity is now, but it's from a larger point of digital transformation and that kind of change you want to bring in. And Africa is right for that change because of the internet penetration growth that we continue to record. And then how are we now able to bring this together is what we try to do at Africa Prudential. As we go further and I have the opportunity to speak about some of our other solutions, you see how we're trying to do that. But one thing is for sure is that we want to be part. Africa is part already and continue to be part of the conversation in technology, which increase and being included, in that conversation. And in terms of, you talked about impact on society. I think that once we create these homegrown solutions and make them scalable, and also make them sustainable, and that alone that is impact. I think that equals impact.
Thank you very much for that, sir. So key things that I picked up from what you said is that your philosophy at Africa Prudential is change, transformation, impact, access to markets and opportunities for people. That's fantastic. That's very, very key, especially in Africa. So let's throw some questions to the other guys. So let's start with you, Mr. Uwem, then we're going to go to Mr. Ola. What is your view on the state of tech in Nigeria now? A lot is going on. And what initiatives and projects is Ingressive and the organizations that you are, that you work with, what are you guys working on to impact this sector positively? Yeah.
Thank you, Kelechi. Like Mr. Obong said, tech is an enabler, and we definitely see it as that. Technology is not just the software. I mean, there are non-tech tech roles that are doing amazingly well, that are helping us build the ecosystem. And tech in Nigeria is only going to get better. We're beginning to see founders who raised a lot of money, reinvesting in founders, reinvesting back in the ecosystem. So there's a lot to expect. I was talking to one of my investor friends, resident in Latin America, and she was saying, although Africa is like 7-8 years behind Latin America, the explosion from Africa is going to be amazing because the ecosystem is rallying up. Venture dollars is beginning to come in here. People are beginning to see success stories from Paystack, which used to be our portfolio company, getting acquired by Stripe to Flutterwave. We're going to be seeing more unicorns, and guess what? Unicorns are mostly tech companies. And in terms of what our organization is doing for that, I'll give you a very short story. Ingressive has always been big about building an ecosystem of tech talent, right? One of the campus ambassadors, the two of the campus ambassadors, the very first campus ambassadors came together, solved the problem based on what they were experiencing back then in school because they couldn't receive foreign currency. And the company is now in Aboki Africa. Aboki Africa has investment from Ingressive and other VC firms across Nigeria. Now, what does that tell you? If you invest in tech talent, if you invest in the pipeline, they would find problems that are really, really, that affects people, and they will solve that problem. And that's the kind of impact we want to keep on giving, and we expect that other people to participate in that too.
Fantastic. So the ecosystem that you built was able to birth a new startup, basically, which you've actually invested in and is actually solving real problems. Fantastic. Mr. Dr. Ola, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. So I basically would just piggyback off two critical things which you mentioned, and that's investing in the pipeline and, of course, investing in talent. Definitely, Nigeria and Africa is blessed abundantly with talent. And the reality is that there's so many young people with ideas and innovations in technology that don't have that platform or the opportunity to be able to scale or to be able to get the resources that they need. And that's one of the significant things that we are trying to do. How do you create a platform that gives opportunity to young people, regardless of where you are, regardless of your gender, to give you the opportunity to let the world see that innovation you've created, let the world see how you can connect and provide that market access that really helps you to scale. The unfortunate thing, and I use the word unfortunate, is that Nigeria and Africa, we are really just scratching the surface, right? Because the truth is that when you look at the numbers and the sheer talent that we have, if we're able to really come together as a holistic ecosystem, we truly can be churning out tons and tons of innovative technology that can truly start to change how Africa is. And of course, that gives that opportunity to people like Ingressive and Africa Prudential to provide the kind of funding that this talent and these people need to truly have what we would call the African startup. We are working towards it, we are getting there, but it's the work and this sort of conversation that makes it even more relevant. The kind of pockets of activities that we're all doing, bringing it together to really shape the future of Africa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. La. You've said it all. I am a beneficiary of the platforms that you talked about. Probably I don't know where I would be today if I didn't start out in 2017 and join BET7.
Absolutely.
Innovative digital than Nigerians. Then this is where we are today. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Chinedu. Let's hear from you. What are you guys working on that is is driving impact in the tech sector, over there and over here as well in Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't start by, giving some context to how I even came here. I started in a pre-accelerator program called Tip Hub Africa, and that was back in 2014. So the pre-accelerator program, Tip Hub Africa, really it still exists. My co-founders still run it, but the ecosystem building of starting with pre-accelerator program, and then we Tip Hub started a developer kind of program called Parallel Score that trains and then also supports the developers to actually get placed in companies and get training. So adding all of that, building on top of that is where Passbook comes from. And then on top of Passbook, I have, pre-accelerator program. And then what we do is we have a partnership with Techstars that supports founders to directly get into Techstars programs, and then Passbook can invest in them afterwards. And so how does that look? There's a company called Fleary that provides immigrants, immigrants to have a health insurance for their family back home. They were Tip Hub created a syndicate so that they can have an investment at the pre-seed stage. They then they got that investment, they scaled a little bit. Then they wanted to get into Techstars. They applied twice before. The MDs didn't understand the immigrant challenge, because now they had gotten Tip Hub, and I was able to, then Passbook, being a partner of Techstars, was able to explain to the MDs why the issue was relevant. Then now they got accepted. They're in Techstars Toronto program. And that's how the ecosystem that we're building is supposed to create, like the beginning stage, the middle, and then hopefully as they're graduating from Techstars, we'll be able to invest in Passbook. And our goal is to create this ladder, whereas right now within the ecosystem, we're still trying to fill in the gaps, and everyone knows we're building the plane as we fly it in Nigeria and Africa. But I was going to say something to Wem. I don't think you should let your LATAM friends tell us that they're ahead of us. We're the same amount of capital that went into LATAM last year went into Africa. Same, we're closing in on them, and if it wasn't for SoftBank, we may be ahead of them. You know what I mean? Wow. So I'm not gonna say, not to say that we're in competition, but we're growing in tandem is what I would say.
Yeah. Fantastic, Mr. Chinedu. Thank you so much for that. The systems that, like you starting out with the pre-accelerator in Nigeria, that brought you over to the States, I believe. Then the Passbook also helping out the immigrant tech startup to explain to the MDs in Techstars about the problem they were trying to solve. That's really beautiful. The partnerships and the relationships is very important. We just got out of a pre-accelerator like yesterday actually, and those things are powerful. All right, Mr. Obong, I want to ask you a question, like from your perspective as the CEO of Africa Prudential. What two of your technology solutions are you most proud of, and why? What two technology products are you guys most proud of, and why are you proud of them, and what has been the impact? Yeah.
Well, I think that, thank you very much, Kelechi. I think the first one, again, largely because of the impact, because a lot of things we do, we also measure by impact, and as much as we want to measure by the return on investment. I think the first one dear to my heart is the cooperative solution. We call it EasyCool. Today we have almost 500,000 cooperative members on the solution. And what this does is, what the EasyCool solution does is creating access. And there's a lot of apart from the fact that it automates the cooperative processes within cooperatives, it also provides a lot of there's a lot of financial, there's a lot of savings, there's a lot of loans and generation going on the platform, and there's a lot of communication. And what we're trying to do is, again, is one thing to create something out there, and this is what technology does, and this is what transformation and the need to continually reinvent yourself and change. And so, when we first came up with the solution, we wanted to go and automate cooperatives. But now the conversation is changing, because every solution has to be, the customer has to be at the center of everything, and the conversation is changing. If I look at the cooperative, they want to join for the social economic benefits, right? And so, yes, we've automated your solution, but what next? And so what we're doing now is to see how we can make those cooperatives prosperous, and those cooperators, the individuals on the solution, prosperous. We've seen the solution grow over time. We continue to get we continue to get new cooperatives coming on the solution, and also we continue to try and we continue to create and continually creating new innovative things on the application. So that's one that's dear to our heart. And we're talking farmers we're talking farmers there. We're going all the way down south, deep in Ebonyi State, putting cooperators there. We're going to the north in Borno State, having cooperators there using that solution and bringing some of the values that they need within their lifestyle to them. The second one is a larger part, which is our heritage. So we come from the capital market space as registrars, and one of the things I believe, for us to even go into the whole technology, going to technology, being traditional business in the registrar space under the capital market, we saw opportunities there, because we saw that there were a lot of opportunities there. We got a bit of capability there. So within the capital market, which is again another source of investment for people. We see that there is a lot of identity management issues. So you see, when we have our conversations, we see, why are millennials not investing here? There are a lot of other alternatives millennials are going. Why they're not coming to the stock exchange? But of course, it was very interesting when we saw what MTN just closed their retail, and we saw a lot of
young people,
excitement and people coming and everything. There's a lot of value to be made in the capital market. A lot of value in terms of the investment from the
registration,
from the capital appreciation and dividends. A lot of companies pay dividends. Africa Prudential, in the last 8 years, our dividend yield has been 14%, which ranks number 3 in the capital market. And so there's a lot. And so we saw a lot of opportunities there to bring and expand this place and bring more people within that investment space. So it's not only us that are making the gains of these huge investments there. So we're creating platforms. We also believe in that. Again, we're creating platforms within that ecosystem, the capital market ecosystem. And we're trying to bring dividend. And also, it's also important to make it very, very efficient, because that's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of people coming to invest in it, especially millennials. So we're looking at creating and bringing interoperability within that, and doing a few things. And so by the end of this quarter and the beginning of next quarter, we'll be announcing more things that we're doing there.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Obong. Thank you. Fantastic delivery. Thank you so much for that, for enlightening us on the different products you guys are working on. Okay, so we have limited time, but I just want to ask a final question to Mr. Ola, Mr. OM, and Mr. Chinedu. Yeah, Mr. Ola, from your perspective, from your work at the EDC and the Global Entrepreneurship Network, what does success, looking at the technology and the entrepreneurship industry, what does success look like to you? Like, for example, in Nigeria, we want to have, in the next 5 years, we want to have 200,000 teachers using Nigerians in their classrooms. What does success look like to you from your standpoint at the EDC?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the example you use is brilliant.
Yeah.
Success to me is us being able to have this sort of conversation on a platform built by young Nigerian or African from a remote city somewhere. I mean, that's a success. And I think what's more important is, what are we doing to be able to achieve that success? And I think it's important I mention one important project which we're working on, which gives opportunity to 200,000 young Nigerians every year for the next 5 years. We're working with MasterCard Foundation on a project called Transforming Nigerian Youth. And that project has 3 critical components to it. The first is, how do you provide learning for young people in the area of entrepreneurship that helps them to learn in their own language, in the comfort of their home? And we've achieved this, right? We have that platform running. Anyone between the ages of 18 and 35 can apply from anywhere. Once you are in the tech, if you're thinking of starting, you have an idea in tech, if you have an idea in the creative or in agriculture, you can apply for this program and you can learn at no cost to you. That means you don't spend your own data, you can learn your own language. And this for me is the foundation, right? Now, when you have started learning and you start
Mm-hmm.
coming up with these ideas, we
Yeah.
also have business development service providers that will
Mm.
support you to fine tune this idea by helping you to develop a growth plan. And once that is done, we have partners that have access that will provide you with the seed
Funding.
you need at that stage. And I'm hoping that Africa Prudential at some time we can connect and start having a conversation
Yes. Fantastic. Nice one, Mr.
this
Owen.
pipeline we are building.
Definitely.
We can start to bring out young people that have ideas that you can invest in as well. And the third
Fantastic.
pillar of this is access to market, right? And we are continuously partnering with different platforms that are willing
Mm-hmm.
to offtake from those in agri and agriculture. And of course, we're
Mm-hmm.
looking at how do we then within the ecosystem work with those that are also willing to work to take on the innovation of those in tech industry. I think this is the work which we want to push out there so that
Yeah.
many young people that have innovation can start to enjoy what many of us have enjoyed but don't have the opportunity to.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Ola. I hope all the young people out there, you guys are taking notes. Follow the EDC on all the social media platforms so you can find out about this wonderful initiatives. Mr. OM, let's hear from you. What does success look like for you from Ingressive?
There are many facets of success for me. The first one is success for me is churning out high quality entrepreneurs and founders. There was a study, and this is my insistence on quality, not quantity. It's not about the number, it's about the quality of founders that are building quality companies. There's a study by Endeavor a few years ago that looked in the knock on effect of building good companies. And they used Jumia and Konga as a case study, right? For those of you that are conversant with ecosystem, you know that a lot of founders came out of Jumia and Konga because Jumia and Konga at that time worked. They were building out the structure and they learned right how to build a good company, right? So we want to see more quality founders, more quality companies in the ecosystem. Success for me is more local high net worth individual and more local investors participating in the game, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
good to have VC dollars from the West, but we need
Mm-hmm.
people, more local people putting in their money and backing these founders because it's very, very important. You cannot have too much money, especially
Mm-hmm.
in a country or in an ecosystem that is struggling with infrastructure and all that. Success
Yeah.
for me is government seeing startup founders and companies as collaborators and not just looking to hit the regulatory hammer on every new thing that comes out.
Yeah.
And success for me is also helping those very, very early stage founders find a voice. Because it's one thing to run a business, another thing to feel like you're heard and seen. And it's important
Yes.
that we are going to our universities, we are going to those accelerator programs, we are picking the best ideas at those levels and we're accelerating them so that they can continue solving the infrastructural gaps that exist on the continent.
Oh, Mr. Oem, you have done justice. You have done justice to that question. Thank you so much. Chinedu, let's hear from you, from your own point of view, especially outside the country. What does success mean to you in what you're
Uh,
doing?
Success to me is very kind of simple. It's I feel like I'm in a successful loop. I like to create success loops. It's kind of and I'll describe it. For me, it's the fact that companies that were in my first pre-accelerator program, founders that were in it, are now investors in my first in Passbook, right?
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
that founders who are on their second venture are now service providers of companies that I'm launching with my studio. So this like virtuous ecosystem that people that create long relationships with people, to me, is about the quality of returns. The quality of returns aren't just how much money goes back to my investors, but how much money goes back to the people, the investors included, the stakeholders that are the founders, and how those people evolve and how they, because my underlying thesis is that the first thing that happens once you create a successful business is that you pay for you pay for better education. The employees have better education, they have better healthcare, and those are the developmental impact returns that are most important. So those quality of the returns are how have the people involved in all of these, all the steps of the process participated, and can we work together again, right? So that's like creating a very virtuous cycle. So success over the next few years is that on an ecosystem level, we're going to just see the people thriving. And the goal is hopefully Nigerians, wherever they are thriving, and they're working together, and they're working with other people that look like them, whether they're Nigerian or black or, you know, whatever. It's that thriving ecosystem of people that is the most important to me. And that's what success looks like if we can do this right. We're the leading Black country. We should lead in technology. We already are, but we should lead in the results that deliver quality returns to people. And that's where, to me, the measurement is going to happen. If we weren't seeing this ecosystem evolve in the way it was, then I would be disappointed. But it's evolving in the right way, and as it continues to evolve and continues to grow, and continues to see people like Africa Prudential make significant strides and create opportunities for Ola, and then, you know, that's the only way I can invest and maybe have an exit to Africa Prudential. You know, so I'm very happy about the whole thing.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that, Mr. Chinedu. It's been really amazing discussing with you guys, because I know, you know, some of you I've known for a while, and some of you I'm just meeting recently. I've sent everybody a LinkedIn invite here, by the way. So Mr. Obong, you haven't accepted mine. Please do when you have the opportunity. Platforms, ecosystems, accelerators, and impact, value, impact, and sustainability. These are the things that matter. The tech is good, but it's the value, the impact, and sustainability that is important, you know, and that is the conversation we're trying to talk about here. As the ecosystem grows, it's not just going to expand, it has to actually give value to people, like you said, Mr. Chinedu. And I believe that all your organizations are doing extremely well with what we've heard here today. I want to thank the global startup ecosystem, the United States Embassy, for bringing us on this amazing panel. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we still have some time. Any final words from you, Mr. Obong, before they pull us out of the panel? Yeah, any final words?
Well, yeah. Thanks for organizing the organizers for organizing this. It's good to hear what people are doing in the ecosystem. I think that they also play very, very. I mean, in addition to the impact they're making, they also play a very, very key role, because people like Ola, Dr. and Kelechi, and you know, the last speaker, it's people like you that, you know, can make it happen. And there's a lot of opportunities and potential, as we've had, you know, today. I think that we just need the government, like Uwem talked about, the government to come together. We need the entrepreneurs and the business owners to come together, and we also need the funders, who are also very, very important, you know, to come together, and each of us just play, you know, those very critical roles that we've had you guys playing today. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right. Dr. Ola, any final words?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to thank all of you, because this sort of gatherings gives me the opportunity to learn, and of course I've learned from everyone, and of course I'll be connecting with everyone as well. I wish we had more time to expand this conversation, but I see that us connecting beyond this would also add value to that community which we're trying to grow. So definitely I'll be in touch with everyone.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just wanted to state something. I remember the first thing you told us in the first class in BT7. You said, "Why are you doing this thing? Why are you here? Why do you want to become an entrepreneur?" That was the start of it, you know, which was very, very important. So thank you very much.
I see why now. You're ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Wim, any final words? Mr. Wim? Final words.
I'm just going to quote Tony Rimelu, where he always says that everybody has a part to play in the transformation of Africa. Each and every one of us, and every listener, every participant in this program has a part to play in the transformation of Africa. So play your part so that Africa can reach its potential.
Fantastic. From the great TOE. Let's hear from you, Mr. Chinedu. Final words from you, Mr. Chinedu.
My final words are just thank you. I always like to thank Christine and the whole GSC team for all they pulled together. But I also like to thank everybody that is taking their time to, you know, showing up is 90% of how you proceed in career development, and you've shown up, and that is a step that you need to know that you are ahead of you're ahead of most of the people that you may think you're in competition with. So just keep on showing up, and things happen. So that's what I'll say.
All right. All right. So, guys, thank you very much. I think it's time for us to leave now. It's been an amazing one. All right, guys. Bye.